Hi, welcome back to InFocus Recouched with us, Kent and Dora. Today you're going to be challenged, informed and inspired, and in that exact order.
Oh, I think you've got that right, Dora. Because first up, we're going to take a look at an interview on a topic that is more challenging and controversial than it has ever been. Coming out, not as a gay and lesbian person, but coming out from a homosexual lifestyle.
Oh, wow. Let's take a look.
Venna Santos, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Now, Venna, you're the co-founder of the By Beholding His Love ministry.
Yes.
Yeah, which operates out of the US. Is it California, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And I guess it stems out of your personal story, doesn't it?
It does. It stems out from both my sister and I, our stories, as we took a journey in the homosexual lifestyle.
So how old were you when you first, I guess, started to wonder that maybe if, you were attracted to women rather than men?
I was pretty young. I was about 6 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about 6 years old. And all I knew at that age was I have a crush on my girlfriend. I like my girlfriend more than a friend. I don't know what that was, but and that basically evolved as I grew, as I grew older and went into a higher elementary age and junior high and high school. The feelings became stronger and the attractions became stronger and the struggle was really immense. It was really a scary time.
I was looking on your website just earlier, and I think you suggested there that you went through some pretty traumatic times and actually a victim of abuse in some ways. Did that play into the struggle with your sexuality, or was that a separate issue?
During that time, I refused to admit that did. But now it did. I can say it really did impact my view and my worldview around me. It skewed basically how I saw people interact with me and who I was. So
you spent about 20 years living an active gay lifestyle in San Francisco, considered the capital of gay and lesbian lifestyles on the planet.
Yeah, it's the gay mecca of the world.
Yeah,
and it didn't take me very long to fit in. I got myself involved and I became a political and social activist there. Eventually became an anti-domestic violence counselor there too as well.
Wow.
And through that field, that's when I met my long-term partner.
And just before we get to that, I think sometimes this debate over homosexuality is becoming very polarised. On one side we have people who say, look, people are just born this way and it's normal and that's all there is to do with it and there's no other factors are allowed to enter. And then on the other side there are people who say, it's a choice, these people are just deliberately perverse, and they've made that choice. But it seems to me, just from listening to you, that the reality is much more complex.
It is definitely complex. It's not an easy equation where 1 + 1 = 2. There's so many different scenarios you have in here. There's so many deeper levels of brokenness, and that's what we all have to come to realize. This is a result of brokenness, just like any other sin. And when the conviction came upon me and God was pursuing me, He made it very evident that He had been pursuing me all my life.
Yeah.
So in Romans 1:24-25, it says that we've turned worship from the Creator to the creature. Self.
Yeah.
Self is our problem here. And if the polarization can come and realize this, I think we could meet somewhere halfway.
Yeah, yeah.
And just love one another and work this through.
Yeah.
And let God do the convicting and the converting.
Yeah.
And I think that's what needs to happen.
Now, as you were saying, Verona, that you were in a serious, long-term, monogamous relationship with another woman.
Yeah.
You had a child together, is that right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
By artificial insemination, of course, anonymous donor. We had a daughter in 2001. It was a beautiful experience. I would never forget it.
Yeah.
But that year, a law had passed for same-sex couples. It afforded same-sex couples the right to adopt each other's children, but the couples who were registered with the state of California as domestic partners. And so we got registered, and I was able to adopt my daughter. It resulted as me being the first one in the state of California to adopt under that law.
Okay. Was because this relationship ended, didn't it, in the end?
It did. My daughter was only 10 months old when it ended.
Oh, okay, so quite soon after that.
Yeah.
And as you're saying, God was calling you back to His plan for you, and you left that gay lifestyle.
Yes.
In terms of like law reform, right now in Australia, we're discussing same-sex marriage. New Zealand has just passed the law, obviously, in all sorts of places. Someone like your daughter, do you think she would benefit from being able to? Does it give her security knowing that she's adopted by both partners, or would it give her security knowing that her lesbian parents were married? Would they give her extra security or not?
I don't think so.
No.
No. I think there's a sense of security, but I think it would be a false sense of security.
Okay.
She won't have that. She doesn't have a father figure for her. So who's to resemble God to her in the structure of family? But again, there's a lot of families out there. I have lots of friends who have partners and who have families. They have 3, 4 children, and they seem to be happy. And I'm there for them.
Yeah. So you've obviously been convicted by reading those very clear texts in the Bible about homosexuality.
Yes.
But is that simply a matter of gritting your teeth and saying, well, I choose not to live a lesbian lifestyle, or has God done something internally within you?
Well, what He's done, He's made me realize and opened my eyes to the level of brokenness that I had gone through.
Yeah.
And how I turned that to try to fix it myself. And just like Adam and Eve, they hid in the bushes and tried to cover themselves. And God was pursuing them. And God was pursuing me as He pursues everyone else.
Yeah.
And He longs for us to choose His ways.
Yeah. I guess some of our audience is going to be sitting here wondering, well, are we talking to one of these, ex-gay people here? Would you describe yourself as ex-gay, Venna? It's a loaded term, isn't it?
It is. It is, and for me, it's an uncomfortable term.
Sure.
I would rather call myself as redeemed. I'm just a redeemed child of God.
Yeah.
And there may be ex-gays and gays who claim to be Christian, and I would rather not debate.
Yeah.
I think everyone's on a journey.
Yeah.
Of whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
didn't know I was on a journey.
Yeah.
But God had used my past to glorify Him.
Yeah. So now you and your sister Lisa are involved in a ministry together.
Yes.
Are you connecting with people with similar struggles that you had?
Oh yes, we are. We've been ministering to individuals, families, families who don't know what to do with their gay son or their lesbian daughter. And our message is just love them, be there for them, support them, and just direct them to God's love and what God can do.
Some people would feel uncomfortable with that. They say, well, isn't there a time for some clear biblical discussion?
Yeah, and I think God will make that evident. But I think we need to realize we can't pick the speck out of our brother's eye without dealing with the beam in our own, right? We would like to talk about other people's sin more than our little darling sins.
It's always easier.
It's always easier that way, isn't it?
Wow. So if people want more information about this or to contact you, they can jump on your website?
Yeah, by beholdinghislove.org.
Okay, that's right up there on the screen. Thanks very much, Venna, for sharing your story with us today, and God bless you and your ministry.
Thank you. Praise God.
Wow, she's very careful, isn't she? Gentle and loving.
Yeah, well, I suppose she has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a very sensitive topic, and so, yeah, Venna is really careful. But let me tell you, Dora, off camera, man, she's a real live wire. Quite hilarious, actually. It was great to meet her.
Oh, awesome. Now, I'm not sure if the website that was given in that interview is still up and running, but Venna Santos is still very much active on Facebook, where there's also a page dedicated to her ministry, By Beholding His Love. Check it out.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take a quick break now, but we'll be back in a moment.
We're going to start with some soybeans. Use some chickpeas, an onion, you have a teaspoon of salt, slice some tomatoes, slice some cucumber, some red onion just to give it a bit of freshness. So just make little falafels like this. They just smell amazing. Let's make our tahini dressing. Let's get in some tomatoes. cucumbers, some falafels. Drizzle some of this lovely dressing. All you need to do is roll it up and you've got a delicious lunch for your family.
It's interesting watching people at an airport. You find yourself making a lot of assumptions based on some really superficial things. Take that guy there, for instance. I don't know what he does, but judging by how fast he's going, I reckon he's pretty important, or at least he thinks he is. We lead busy lives and we're proud of it. Ever asked someone how their day's going and got this reply? Yeah, flat out, real busy. It's like a badge of honor. No time for you, I'm on important business. At least that's what we tell ourselves. It seems all we want to do is get things done faster, because the faster something gets done, the less time we need to spend on it and the more we can cram into our day. And yet, the faster we move, the less time we have to rest. And the sad thing is, the faster we do move, the more we need rest.
To receive a free DVD of the documentary Beyond Burnout, visit hopeoffer.com/burnout or call 1300 300 389.
Hi, welcome back. Now, if you're into flavouring your meals with herbs, you're going to love this next segment because Sue Rad is going to give you even more reasons to get herbalicious.
Herbalicious, yum. Let's take a look.
You want to talk to us about antioxidants.
That's right. And the particular role that herbs have in boosting the antioxidant power of your meal.
Okay, so we all want to eat a lot of antioxidants because of all the great things they do. I can't remember them all, but you know them all.
That's right. Oxidation occurs in the body, and oxidation is increased by things like pollution, smoking, stress, and even bad foods that you might eat. Right. Oxidation is really harmful. It's a bit like rusting in a car in the body. It can cause premature aging, bring on diabetes, cancers, heart disease, the works.
And we don't want all that, so we want to eat lots of antioxidants.
We want a diet that's loaded with antioxidants. And everyone knows fruits and vegetables are high in antioxidants.
Absolutely.
But few people know the power of herbs to add antioxidants into your meals.
Herbs?
Herbs, fresh or dried. So let's show people how to make a simple salad dressing whereby they can significantly add antioxidants. So if you want to grab some extra virgin olive oil and pour some of that into our little jug.
While you're talking.
If you need any help, just yell out. And then to that we're going to add some lemon juice.
Superb.
And importantly, we're going to add some herbs. And today I'm actually using a tube of blended herbs. You can add about a tablespoon. There we go, there's about a tablespoon there.
That's tons,
And we're going to blend that with the lemon and the olive oil.
Okay, let me see. There's a question before we went on air whether I'm able to actually squeeze a lemon single-handedly.
Here comes the test.
Oh, look at that, Sue. Am I meeting your expectations?
Well, exceeding my expectations, James.
Okay, great.
But what they actually showed in a study in Australia at Southern Cross University is that if you add blends of herbs, so for example, this blend would have, say, oregano, rosemary, mint, basil, garlic, these kind of things. If you add that to your dressing and pour that onto your salad, which you're about to do any second now,
I will.
You can, get this, you can triple the antioxidant value of that entire salad, James.
Wow, look at that. So that not only looks like
it's more delicious, looks better, but you are tripling the value of that meal.
Well, that's pretty good news because normally when we think of salad dressing, we think of actually something we shouldn't be eating.
That's
what you're telling me is just mix up these things. Obviously, it doesn't take very long. We just did it, and you've tripled the antioxidants, which is kind of astounding. Now, what have you got over here?
Now, another idea could be when you're making, say, a pasta sauce, a tomato-based pasta sauce. So we've got passata here, which is basically just crushed, plain cooked tomatoes as your base.
Right.
It's really, really important to add herbs to such sauces. So we could add garlic, ginger, so garlic and ginger.
Right.
We could add basil, oregano. You could add anything. And what they found in another research study, also from Australia, is that then you can increase the power of antioxidants by about 50 to 200%, according to the scale of ORAC. They use a particular scale of measuring.
Now, for most of us, when we do, you know, pasta sauce, we just buy the pasta sauce ready-made. Any reason to make our own?
Well, you can add a lot more things to it, and you can start from scratch and change what you're adding. But some of the commercial ones also have herbs added inside. But pretty much the key thing is you're not eating any more food. You're not needing to eat more volume. You're just sneaking more antioxidants inside and flavouring your food in a delicious way.
Wow,
and keeping yourself healthier.
Well, that's great news, Sue.
And to give you another example, James, a comparison at least, if I can show you this.
Sure.
This is about half a cup of vegetables and anywhere between about 1 to 10 grams of herbs, dried or fresh, has the same antioxidant value as about half a cup of vegetables.
Wow.
So they're powerful.
These are like nature's superfoods, as they say.
They are.
So to find out more about how to add herbs, how to use this, how to really pump up your diet, this is fabulous news. You have recipes?
Lots of free recipes on my website, surad.com. Lots of interesting ways of using more herbs, fruits, vegetables and other whole foods, James, to keep you well and keep disease at bay.
Oh, that was great. Have you got a favourite herb, Dora?
Yeah, mint. Totally mint, because I'm cool like that.
Oh, boy, wow. Who's cracking dad jokes now? I'm actually going through an oregano phase right now.
Oh.
Oregano? Oregano? I'm not sure, but I love eating it.
Oh, bring it on. Hey, it's time for an ad break, but we'll be back with you in a minute.
Nature. Peaceful, quiet, calm. The perfect place to relax. Sometimes.
The mountain blew apart with the force of a 24-megaton bomb, devastating 150,000 acres of forest. The mushroom cloud looked like a nuclear blast, ash covering everything, temperatures reaching as much as 600 degrees.
To receive a free DVD of the documentary Beyond Warning, visit hopeoffer.com/warning or call 1300 300 389.
Onions add great sweetness and flavour and a good base to any curry. Going to add some ginger, some garlic. Look at that, nice and chunky. So we've got our spices, gives it kind of a Sri Lankan feel. Add some tomatoes, tomato paste, some honey. Roasted vegetables in these kind of dishes are always great. If we add some creaminess to it. And that dish is now finished, ready to hit the table. I recommend you to give it a try, and it's so easy.
Hi, welcome back. Now, Kent, how do you feel about Christian movies?
Ooh, mixed emotions, Dora. There are so many out there that sadly are kind of lame, so I'm disappointed way too often.
Yeah.
But then just occasionally, you know, there's this good one. So, you know, I always have this glimmer of hope, you know, maybe this one will be good.
I know what you mean. But this next interview is with someone who's devoting his career to finding those hidden gems and bringing them to the market.
Well, let's take a look then.
It's great to welcome Rod Hopping to the set. Rod leads Heritage HM Film Distribution Company. Rod, thanks for making time to be with us.
Good to be here.
Now, just the other day, my wife and I were rolling past Roseville Cinema. It's a cinema right here in Sydney. And I made the comment to her that it's been ages since I've seen a film advertised that I actually would want to see. Is that because I'm getting old, or is it because the films are getting worse?
James, I think it's probably a bit of both. I think there's a good chance that Hollywood's recipe for success doesn't sort of hit your demographic as much. But I would agree. I think some of the films that are the blockbusters, I go in and yawn a little bit at them too. There's not a lot of depth to the story. You know,
right.
A lot of good action, big names, but not that engaging. You leave thinking, 90 minutes of my life gone.
That's it, 90 minutes gone, and life is time is really precious, particularly when you have young kids. So what are you doing to change sort of the dynamic there?
Look, we love movies, and really it's the power of a great story. So we're constantly looking, as a film distributor, you're a bit like an importer. Your product is a movie, so you choose what you're going to import into a country. So we're always looking around the globe for really good quality films that, for us, that engage with the human spirit. And instead of that 90 minutes of thinking, I just wasted time,
right?
I'd love it that our films you were thinking about, an hour later, maybe next week. That's sort of a depth to them.
Yeah, one of the films that you distributed here in Australia and New Zealand was Amazing Grace. Yeah. Now, that's a film that I've seen and I've thought about a lot. What made you decide to bring that film to us?
We did a sub-distribution with another company on this film, and when they approached us, we just knew that this was a film we were watching, but we knew it was just hit the target for us.
Sure.
As well as being a film that really engages you at a level of, your destiny and your purpose. I mean, the whole William Wilberforce story, he was almost a reluctant hero.
Yeah.
But, also had that element of social justice to it as well.
Absolutely.
It was about making a difference in the world. It was about... Wilberforce, as we all know, the Clapham sect was made up of all sorts of different business people, politicians, educators. Everybody seemed to do their bit to see something that was really wrong change.
Which was the slave trade in the British Empire in the, late 1700s, early 1800s, right?
It was
and it was a lifetime work here. It wasn't something that just he didn't just snap his fingers and get it outlawed. It really took some effort.
In fact, I think if you remember the movie, it was really on his deathbed after years. I mean, I don't know if I could do it. He went to Parliament for so many years and they just kept saying no. I mean, a lot of the politicians that were looking at that act, they had interest in the slave trade.
That's right.
A bit like you and I today probably trying to overturn the automotive industry.
Right.
It's that size of an industry.
Yeah, massive. Now, I guess if I had one word for that film, it would be inspiring. Are there other films on the market now that are as inspiring and uplifting as Amazing Grace?
I think you've got to dig a little deep to find them.
Sure.
And they're the movies that we're looking to bring into the country. We find films at times... we had a film that we released which has been one of our bestsellers called Faith Like Potatoes.
Right. I saw that on the aeroplane, actually.
Okay.
Very unusual film.
Yep, it is.
And how did you find that? And I saw it on South African Airlines, incidentally. Okay. So how did you bring that into Australia? How did you hear about it?
Well, it's again, we do a lot of research. There's more... since Mel Gibson made The Passion of the Christ, it kind of spurred any Christian around the world who's got a passion to produce or tell a great story. So there's a whole lot of films being made. So Faith Like Potatoes was a great South African production. And I tend to think I don't know, the Australian and South African kind of, we're similar in a lot of ways and we get the same thing. So I think it was the whole farming influence. But to me it was more than that. It was the story of a transformational story of a pretty hard man, a farmer, and really it didn't, even after he made a commitment to Christ, it wasn't a rosy walk. In fact, he lost his nephew in a tractor accident. I think there was a realness to it, and I think that's something we're looking for. We're looking for stories that leave you thinking, well, that could happen instead of that will never happen to me, kind of a thing.
Now, some Christian films, the ones that maybe are almost even a little irritating, are very simplistic and very preachy. Are there films out there that have the complexity of the texture of life that really speak to people?
I think the difference between, I put it this way, there's films that show you and there's films that tell you. And I think if we're watching a movie and it feels like they're telling you everything, it's a long-winded script, and you kind of think, I get it. I have this philosophy that when Jesus was ministering on earth, he told really simple stories, and I call it the head-scratching kind of ministry, where even his closest mates would come up to him after a parable and say, you know, what was that all about? And I kind of think, you know, if the Son of God was prepared to let us scratch our heads and think a bit, then maybe we could do that in the films that we make and the films that we distribute. So a lot of the films that we're looking to bring in, we hope that they give you some head-scratching space. We hope that they get you thinking about, I wonder why he did that. Personally, I love movies that are based on true stories. They're my favourites. And I've been influenced in time by movies like Schindler's List, and I love Braveheart. I love the whole William Wilberforce, you know, freedom walk. I love Saving Private Ryan. You know, these stories that have an element of truth to them, and they leave you thinking, man, if Oscar Schindler did that, you know, he used what he had in his hand to keep 2,000 Jews alive, and he was upset that he couldn't save more. You know. I wonder what I could do. And I think if we can bring a movie in and it leaves you and the audience thinking, I wonder what I could do.
What I can do now.
To go out and make change in my world. I think instead of having, you know, Hollywood wants to hold up examples of celebrities, but, you know, it's their lifestyle and everything about them is unattainable. So we're looking to bring movies in that leave you thinking you can make a difference in your world.
I think that's a beautiful idea. Your website is Movies Change People.
That's it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, we have this saying, movies change people, people change the world. And so we're looking to engage people with that sense that I really believe that every one of us is called to a purpose and a task. And it's so vastly different. You know, God is such a creative God, and I think we've all got a different job to do here on earth. And so if our movies can inspire you and others in the job they're doing, to stick to it, or even call them out of something that maybe is a bit ho-hum, that maybe they're just in the stream floating along, and can call them to step out and walk in their purpose and destiny, then there's a chance that the world can be reached and we can see it a better place. And we do that sometimes as well through social justice movies that get you thinking about the injustices that exist in the world as well.
So it's not just about history, it's about right now. Rod, I really appreciate you taking time to be with us and for the work that you're doing. You also have a program to bring films to churches. All of that is right there on the website that's there on your screen. Thanks so much, Rod.
You can really sense it, can't you, about Rod Hopping? He has this quiet passion, would you call it?
Yeah, totally. And I loved what he said, you know, movies change people and people change the world.
Yeah, that was very powerful. And I guess it can apply not just to movies, but maybe, you know, to books or even to the lives of people who inspire us.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a fascinating half hour of television. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time for more InFocus Recouched.
Yeah, and until then, all the best and God bless.